So, hello and welcome to a very special issue of Not Done Yet, the Civil Service Retirement Fellowship podcast that celebrates age, challenges ageism, and proves retirement certainly doesn't mean you've stopped having opinions. Today, we're talking about one subject, pet peeves, those little things that make you sigh, tut, roll your eyes, or quietly wonder whether civilization has finally had its day. From people who don't indicate at roundabouts to speakerphone conversations in public, queue jumpers, automated telephone menus, the list goes on. Today, we hope you've got a forum to share what's really got your goat. As always, along for the ride and helping me open the floodgates of irritation is my wonderful co-host and friend and colleague, Denise Headley. Denise, I am a little bit worried about asking this, but what gets your goat?
There's no need to worry, David. So thank you so much for that lovely introduction. It's lovely to see so many people in the room. I've got several pet peeves, as I'm sure you're aware.
Give us the one to start off with.
My first pet peeve is people who don't pick up after their dog.
Yeah, because that's a good one.
Yeah, I like walking the dog with my mum. My mum's got a dog, and she always goes out with like a little bag thing, like a little bum bag at the front.
Yeah.
And then she's got Winston's water, and she's got a bag. And you know, my mum's a mature person, and it's not easy for her sometimes to go down, but she picks up his waste, and I think that other people should do the same. So that is one of my pet peeves, to throw open a floodgate.
That's a great thing. And what I would say to people as we go through, if you like the pet peeves, you can put a thumbs up.
Yeah, we just got some emojis going up as well.
If you don't, or you don't agree with it, you can put a thumbs down. But just before we start, though, one thing that definitely isn't a pet peeve is seeing our own YouTube community grow. So those of you who are on the call, share it with friends, subscribe to our CSRF channel, give the episode a like when it goes live, and importantly, also leave a comment. What we want to do is to build our comments to get more and more people interacting with the channel so we can broaden it and widen it. We've had a lot of traction from the thing so far. So bell icon will actually get you any notification that we have coming through. So any new episode you'll be made aware of. Like, comment, share. So it's those three things. And we might even read, if you want to put a comment on the YouTube channel about pet peeve, we might read them out in a future episode. But I'm going to go straight, because I know she was the author of this, and she's also on a time schedule, is to say to Debbie, you very kindly shared several pet peeves when we were talking and Not Done Yet. Have you got a new one, for those of you who may not, people who may have watched the episode, or do you want to reiterate one of the ones that you shared on a previous podcast?
Thanks, David. One of the ones that I used when we spoke previously was that I couldn't bear people getting old and getting into the habit of saying, oh, well, I've got a new coat or I've got a new car and it'll see me out. That really annoys me. The last laugh is on me because as of tomorrow, I'm actually changing my car and I'm rather hoping my new car will last me quite a long time.
Thank you, Debbie.
No, I had a really good example yesterday. I was getting off a train in Kingston upon Thames. The train was crowded, lots of mums with pushchairs and some elderly people, and the platform was also quite crowded. The doors opened, and one man just charged into the carriage without letting anybody get out. And I actually was so incensed by this that I held up my hand and said, people have got to get out, in a very bossy voice.
Oh, excellent. Well done.
Absolutely agree with that.
Because I thought it was just so rude.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my peeve of the day, I have to say. And actually, David, if you don't mind, I really need to go back to what
that's
I'm
absolutely
doing.
fine.
So,
absolutely fine.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I hope you have a really good discussion.
Thank you, Debbie. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. See you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. I just want to throw one in before we open up the floor, because I was trying to think over the weekend, what are my pet peeves? I mean, we all have them, but when you actually get called out on them, it's actually quite remarkably difficult to actually think. But I was thinking, I live in the rural countryside in West Sussex, and I think what really gets my goat, to use the phrase, is a strange breed of person that's lovingly known as a mammal. Now, I don't know if you've come across that acronym, which actually means middle-aged men in lycra, and they dominate country lanes in packs on bicycles. And instead of doing like all in the neat row, they go across the road. So consequently, they back up traffic when you're bootling along, and it takes forever from getting to AB. So that's my major pet peeve. Someone who drives a lot, that really gets my goat. So floor open, hands up. Who would like to throw in? Got your goat? What got you really riled up? Maybe this week, last week, something that every week gets you really annoyed. Who wants to share?
Something on the news,
Yeah,
whatever's made you a little bit on the fizzy side.
My pet peeve is people who just don't indicate. One is expected to be a mind reader, whether it's cars coming out of side roads or on roundabouts, particularly roundabouts. And I'm left wondering, have you forgotten everything you learnt during your driving test? Or are you someone new to this country? But every country I've ever visited, regardless of whether you give way to the left or the right, you have to indicate to let people know where you're going.
This is true. This is true. That's a good one, Kath. And we had quite a lot of thumbs up during that. So I think people are probably on the same page as that. Anybody else? Jean Anderson, I know you've got a shopping list of pet peeves you very kindly shared. Do you want to venture one of those for the group, see what people's views are?
Hello. Yes, I've just had trouble unmuting myself. Yeah, I think yeah, quite. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you lovely, Jane.
Yes, yeah. I think quite a few of them were more sort of about institutions and things like you know, when you're hanging on, and you know, your call is allegedly so important to us, and especially some of them start off with a very angry, we will take extreme action against anybody who, I can't, you know, who is nasty to our you know, our staff, and then they just keep you hanging on. I mean, that's discourteous too, actually, and also it implies that I or whoever has answered the phone is a nasty, aggressive person, and I had no intention of doing that. All I just want to do is to talk to somebody on the telephone. That's why I rung them up.
Well, I would agree with you on that, Jean. And the other thing which always makes me laugh is the one where it tells you what position you are in the queue. So you get all the preamble, and then you're on the call, and then after you've listened to Greensleeves about 600 times, it will then say, your call really matters to us. You are 258th in line on the queue, but do keep holding, blah, blah. And that's another element that is definitely, I think, designed to get your goat on the front. So I think customer service calls, or the lack thereof in terms of business customer service, I think should definitely be. Who would agree with that? Thumbs up who agrees with Jean's pet peeve.
Yeah.
Isabel, I can see a thumbs up.
Chatbots.
That's another one. You often get pointed in the direction of chatbots, don't you? In the sense of it alleges to know exactly what you mean when you're not even talking
yes,
to a
I
real
agree with that. Yeah.
The other thing about customer services, and I was involved at one time in customer service training, you go into a shop and you're standing at the counter and the phone rings and they answer the phone and leave you standing there. And we were always taught you deal with the person in front of you. The person on the phone will ring back.
Indeed.
The person in front of you might leave the shop and you have no sale.
Or in bank, where you go into a bank and you see, for starters, now banks actually deliberately try and hide tellers because they have people out the front on tablets, which they don't have any apparent knowledge about banking, but they look good and they're holding their iPad and they're.
No, that's not accurate, because I know I have family working in banks.
Well, what I was going to say is the thing. Well, it is true in the banks I've been in. But
change bank if I was you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But also, you can go in at lunchtime and you see lots of people talking behind the counter and no counters are open, which does slightly get my goat. And the queue, there's always the queue out the door and there seems to be only one teller open, but yet lots of people milling around behind having conversations. But yeah, I mean, obviously I need to review what bank I go to because it clearly is not the norm in every bank.
Yeah.
I've got a banking one. You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
You want to hear it? Well,
yes, please.
There's a bank I visit twice a year. And what most of you don't know is that when I'm out, I use walking sticks. However, I dress much younger than my age. So I'm confusing to them, but not to this young lady at the front. She addresses me as, will you take a wee seat over there, dear? And I usually look at her and say, I'm not your dear, and I would like a big seat, please. Not a children's seat. Because one, if I got down on it, I couldn't get up again. You know, and you'd think she'd actually remember, because I'm the one that's in with 2 walking sticks, but she never remembers. That's my pet peeve.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Liz. Dee.
Could I just say, Liz, because there's 2 of you, there's 2 Liz's in the meeting. Yeah, you've muted one, and then the other one will allow you to speak without the thing. But I thought that was very funny what you just said when she said, would you like to take a seat, dear? And you're like, I'm not your dear. I think that's very good.
Oh, it's not that. It's the wee seat that gets me. In Scotland, we in that context has 2 meanings. I won't bother explaining the second one to you in case down in England it's not commonly used. I can't remember. I'm sorry, I've done something. I mean, I'm hopeless at this. I've done something. So are you telling me I've cut the other Liz out? I'm sorry.
No, what we're saying
you
is...
sound way better, Liz. Because
exactly.
what happens is, because there's 2, you're in the meeting with 2 different accounts. You've got one muted, which is perfect. So we can hear you perfectly with that other one. So you've not done anything wrong.
Exactly.
Well, that'll be lucky. Thanks.
No, you're doing great. Anybody else want to share a pet peeve?
Can I make a comment on what this lady has just said? The 2 points she made there. One was when we're elderly and they will call us, all right, my dear, all right, love, all right, love. Most patronising, and so she did the right thing. She returned the compliment and called her dear. The other thing is about seats in shops. I can't stand for very long for various reasons, and I think every shop should provide at least 1 seat so that a disabled person or a very elderly person can sit down, because I cannot stand for a long time waiting to be served. But there are many, many shops that do not have any seating facility. So that's 2 points that lady made that I would like to endorse. Okay.
Thank you, Jean. And we've got Ian. Are you going to agree, disagree, throw another curveball in?
I was going to throw in some other ones, David, but
no, please do. Yeah,
my internet connection seems fragile, so forgive me if you lose me. So the one I was going to throw in was on the back of what Denise said right at the start, but I belong to a Adopt a Street initiative thing where you go out and pick up litter. I'm terrible at doing it. I don't get out anywhere near as often as I should, but it's the people who pick up after their dog and then hang the little bag in the bush. So, like, I think now, shall I try to get that off the bush with my litter picker? But is it going to just explode all over me? So I always end up leaving it because I just can't do it. And then the other things that people have said have reminded me of when you're on hold, they always say we're receiving a higher number than average calls. Well, if they always say that, that can't be the average, can it? They must.
No, that's very true.
And the thought when I thought of when somebody said about shop assistants remind me of when I was working sort of in town every day, and we all wore suits to the office. I usually wore a dark navy suit, and if I went into John Lewis's, if I stood still for a moment, someone would come up and ask,
"They were staff."
Well,
I think you might have frozen. I think maybe the IT lines in your area may have been melted because of the extreme heat, but you have frozen, I think, Ian. Yeah, you'll probably rejoin us. But I think all of those... Oh, you're back. There you are.
Oh, did you? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I said it's fragile.
We heard that before because you froze just after you. But I think there was a general agreement that all the things you said there, I think everyone was entirely endorsing on that front. Olive, have you got anything? What's your biggest pet peeve?
Well, at the moment, it's about people who always complain about everything, but do nothing to make their lives easier. It's always somebody's fault. I hate that. It's never their fault. Complain, do nothing to make your life easier.
That's a very moot point there, Olive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you generally would say you don't have any pet peeves because you tend to turn it into a positive rather than a negative.
Well, I try to most of the time.
So nothing's got your goat recently then, no?
Well, yes, but then I have time to think about it, and I thought, well, really, maybe I should put some more effort into it, and that's what I'm trying to do these days.
That's a very good and an
Because if I
inspiring lesson
don't,
for all of us, I think, Olive.
everything will get me down.
I'm with Olive on that. I try to think of pet peeves, and I don't really. I understand all the annoyances and frustrations, but as does Olive, I think, oh well, shrug them off and get on with things.
Yeah,
So
I agree. Yeah.
So just consume your entire life, what's left of it. And at my time of life, I can't afford to waste time on silly little things. I've got to get on with it.
That's
Mind you,
very
there are
true.
days when I feel sorry for myself, but there you are. I'm entitled to that.
You're on mute, Dee.
Isabel's got her hand up, Dee.
Oh, Isabel. Yes. Sorry, Isabel. Yeah.
May I've had one little input. Can I have my peeve now then, please?
We're going to Isabel first, Jean. Just bear with us a moment.
Yes, my particular pet peeve is going on the buses and the bus taking off and flinging me to the ground, as it were, before I can reach a seat.
Yeah, that would be a pet peeve. Is that happen a lot, Isabel, when you get on the bus?
Yes, it does. And the drivers very seldom sort of leave enough time to reach seats, especially on some of the new buses where the seats seem to be further away.
Yeah.
But obviously no one else seems to.
Yeah,
Well, no,
it's happened to me too. Yes, and I think it's because they're in such a hurry because they're under time schedule. But I'm aghast. I'm fairly stable and I wear sort of trainer type shoes. But especially those of us who want to go upstairs or something. You're moving along as you're climbing the staircase. I mean, it really is quite dangerous. So what they do. And once I was in physio for some other reason, because I needed it. And there was a lady there who'd badly hurt herself, but because she'd fallen backwards when they'd done that, and I think she couldn't move. She'd broken some bones. They do it all the time. It's dangerous, really, if you're not stable to get on a bus nowadays.
Yeah. When that was first introduced in Edinburgh, we were told to say to the driver on the way in, will you please wait until I'm seated? Because many of us, well, I'm different because I've got two sticks, but many people look as if they're very stable on their feet when actually they're not. So it's a good idea to say it to the driver.
I think in London, we're very busy. One thing I find is good is if you can be first in the queue and there's a good few people behind you, he's got to wait till they've all boarded, and that gives you some precious time to sit down.
Yeah, that's a very good point there, Jim.
Good idea, yeah.
So we've obviously got some very chilled people. So that's rather pouring water on our whole session of pet peeves, but it's nice to get the balance. And I actually do entirely. I think Olive's sentiment about life is too short and obviously wanting to turn things in from a negative to a positive is a very good one. But it's still quite nice to moan. Now, Jean Bishop, you had some pet peeves you wanted to share. Jean Bishop?
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
You will give my peeve.
Yeah,
okay, my peeve is, and Simon Cowell, as a media person, is very guilty of this.
Right.
And my background is I was a teacher of English to foreign students, so I'm very, very fussy about grammar. But one thing that really does irritate me, it's my bloody phone, sorry. One thing that really does irritate me, sorry about that, is when people say something when they mean something. And Simon Cowell is an absolute past master at that. If you watch him on television, he always says, I think it was something, da 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 da, and it absolutely grates on me. Right, over to the group.
No, that's fine. What do people think about that? Poor grammar. How does that fare? Does everybody agree with that?
I think he's demonstrating a street cred.
Or not, as the case may be. Dee, we've got Chris has got his hand up.
Oh, you go, Chris. Yeah, go on, Chris.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Yeah.
Good. No, one or two people had mentioned the buses. Our buses are quite good round here, and I'm quite fortunate with them. But I am peeved off a little bit with the fact that I no longer drive, and you know, I've lost a little bit of confidence, and I'm not able to react as well as I used to. So I'm a bit sorry that I'm missing that opportunity now and not being able to drive. But thankfully, the buses can get me about.
Well, that's the important thing. I mean, at least, I mean, it's never nice to be able to, when you're used to have that complete freedom to go where you want to go when you want to go there. Obviously, but I mean, obviously, some parts of the country have better or worse bus services depending on where they are. But it's good where you are. You do have some good bus services to allow you to get you where you want to get to.
Yeah, thank you.
Dee,
thanks, David.
You had your hand up.
Oh, hang on. My phone's going now, which I'm not going to answer. Sorry. One of my pet peeves, I think, relates to, I think it was Kath talking about people signaling or not signaling. One of my pet peeves is that when you give way to people, they don't say thanks.
True.
I can see Jaystri going.
True.
Yeah, I know Chris was saying that he misses his driving, but I don't know if you missed that bit, Chris. You know, you give way to somebody and they don't say thanks. So I think that really annoys me. And when I was younger, I'm not so much now. My mum is a stickler for grammar. Okay, you can't drop your T's. The word is something, Denise, not something. Okay, so I've now got to the point where I feel I am able to not concern myself with that particular concern that my mother has. So now I say something all the time. And I drop my T's as well. So it's not butter, Denise, it's butter. How about that, Mark?
Well, I think wasn't it Jacob Rees-Mogg had a great thing about the I can't remember what it was called, the commas and grammatical, the way in which things are drafted. He's being obviously quite a purist in the way in which he approaches grammar, and I think he used to have huge beef with how people drafted statements or department stuff within the civil service. I think was it Oxford comma? Is that what he refers to? It's the Oxford comma, isn't it? Which goes, I don't ever remember being taught to put a comma before and when I was at school. But evidently, somehow or somewhere along the line, that's become the done thing when you do anything, or you get computers that clearly aren't properly taught English grammar that just basically give you that as an option as to how to do it. So I think grammar is a good one, actually. I think everyone's got something in their grammar there as well. Anyone got anything else they'd like to share? Because that's what
Yeah, I just remember this.
Yes, go for it, Olive.
In the 60s, I worked with someone who turned out to be my best friend in civil service, and she really mothered me.
Yeah.
You know, all my problems, I could go to her. She's a real Cockney. She used to say something, and she actually wrote something. She actually wrote something. I just remember a real Cockney she was. She turned to be my best friend, but she was always like that, something, and yeah. I thought that was weird, you know, coming to England and somebody saying something. Yeah.
Thank you, Olive.
Jaystri, I think, Dee.
Yeah. What have you got?
Hi, mine is following about the buses.
Yeah.
I'm talking about queues because people, I know sometimes they come 2 or 3 buses together, but sometimes some people are waiting there for a particular bus. And when the bus comes, all the people who can run, they can run, and whoever can't run that fast or walk that fast, they're left behind. But the people in the front, they don't have any courtesy of letting people with less able people with a wheelchair or sticks or anything to go further. And I have seen that's happening not in the bus station, but also in the supermarkets, because some supermarkets will say, oh, if you want to pay by card, go that way, and then people start going that way. So I think when I came in this country, queue was one of the English things I always followed, and thinking, no, you should follow it all the time. But that's my peeve anyway, that people
No, that's
don't
very
follow.
good. That's a very good one, actually.
And people
No,
don't follow.
that's a very good one, actually.
And I have seen people struggling because they had to let one or two buses go just for that reason that they can't go with and buses, they don't stop at the particular stop. They go a little bit either further forward or a little bit back. And
Yeah.
especially if there is one bus before that one, they stop behind that. So then people who are in the queue, they are last in the queue. But people don't realize that they don't have common sense that let these people go. But that's my peeve anyway.
No, I think everyone would. You're getting a lot of thumbs up there. Leslie, you were going to share a pet. You were going to agree with one, throw a new one into the mix.
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you
Oh,
fine.
brilliant.
Lovely.
I agree with quite a few. Littering, I think, is my worst pet hate, but also noisy eaters. What do you think about noisy eaters?
That's a good one. Yeah.
And slurping the coffee and the tea as well. Oh, yeah. So them's my pet hates, I think.
Thank you, Leslie, for sharing that. We've had quite a nice cross section, and you know what? I think everybody has given a pet peeve, even those who've not said they've got pet peeves. D.
That point that Leslie made about slurping, noisy eaters. I was brought up with a degree of understanding about certain types of etiquette. You weren't allowed to eat with your mouth open. You had to set the table. You knew you sat at the table and had your dinner. There wasn't any eating food on the road. That was seen as a sign of poor breeding, as far as my gran was concerned. Let alone chewing gum on the road.
Exactly.
You have no brought up. See, that's what it was. You were dragged up eating chips on the road. You weren't allowed. You weren't allowed to eat, and you had and that kind of thing. You weren't allowed to slurp your tea because that was seen as poor etiquette. If the tea's too hot, just wait.
Yeah. Yes. I agree, Denise.
Yeah.
And you know, your parents would do that thing where they'll pour the tea in the cup with 2 cups to cool it down, so you don't have to slurp.
Yeah.
I think that's been quite a wide-ranging set of peeves and common observations, but I think the thread there is that an awful lot of us have similar beefs with lots of things. And anyone got anything else they want to throw? Because we've obviously gone past our 35 minutes, and I know people are obviously probably wanting to relax, chill. I hope you're all keeping cool wherever you are. Some part of the UK may not be sweltering, but we are over 30 degrees down here, and apparently getting hotter tomorrow. So our connections are probably going to melt between now and tomorrow. But has anyone got anything before I do the wrap up that they'd like to add? Well done, Isabel. I can see a very useful fan there. Any other peeves people would like to throw in before we wrap?
Yeah, can I share one?
Of course you can, Maverick. Sorry, I should have said. What would you like to share?
Yeah, mine is those who are walking around on their mobile phone and through parks or on pavements with their heads down, paying absolutely no attention to those around. And you having to stop to actually wait for them to acknowledge, or you're trying to maneuver yourself around them. It absolutely annoys me, especially when I'm in my wheelchair.
I think that's an excellent one, actually. And I would add an extension to that, which actually happened fairly recently. I was on a train journey from not only from Brighton to London, and there was somebody who was having the loudest conversation with somebody on the end of the phone, that the entire carriage was following this, whatever was going down. And this person was getting more and more animated, and there was lots of like effing and jeffing and all the rest of it. And the lady got up and left at 2 stops up, and the whole carriage applauded when she got off.
That was good.
Seen that? Because we basically listened to the entire conversation, whether we wanted to or not, for like the equivalent of like 15 minutes. And that was a sort of a bonding session on a commuter train. Dee, you were going to raise
Sorry, I've got another one. Based on what the lady just said a minute ago, people who are in the supermarket and then they put the trolley in front of the place that they're looking at, and no one else can get to the oil or the rice or look in the freezer. Or I also buy the stuff that's reduced, okay, you know, with the little yellow stickers. But you need to budge up so someone else can look at the stock. Yeah. So move over a bit, you know what I'm saying? But they've got the trolley like an enclave. And then, you know, it's like, no one else is going to get those yellow stickers, but I will.
But you know, you say that, I'm also surprised no one has thrown into the mix for pet peeves the unmanned cash tills, because that whole unidentified item in the bagging area, or you're trying
and then
to
you put the wrong
scan
thing, and oh my gosh, the
and you
bagging area.
always get call assistant or whatever, or you the thing that always gets my goat with that is it says put your bag in before you start scanning. So you diligently put your, you know, whatever bag you've got there, press the relevant button, and inevitably it's probably me, the first item doesn't go through properly, and you then have to flashes to say, don't worry, you're that stupid, an assistant is coming to sort you out. But that whole I think supermarket experiences,
but they've always only got, like, one person who's clearly frazzled in the section. There's 20 self-checkouts and half an individual who's doing everything. And then, you know, the customers are getting annoyed. The person's basically having, you know, a stressful time. The whole experience isn't pleasant. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you,
well,
Jay.
All I can say is welcome to the future. I was in Edinburgh 3 years ago, and I went to a really large Boots on a nearby retail park, which had one member of staff, and the only way of paying was at self-checkouts. Now, in principle, I don't use the self-checkouts. It allows the retailer to employ fewer staff. There's no customer service element involved. And I take the view that my groceries or whatever I'm buying has always included being served. And if they want me to act like staff, I want staff discount.
Ah, good angle.
And when I've said that, you should see the faces. However, that's beside the point. The point is that the retailers that are big enough to incorporate these self-checkouts are all deliberately going that way. Even my own local branch of Waitrose has expanded the number of self-checkouts it has. The local Lidl now has many more than it used to have. And I determinedly queue up with my shopping regardless to make a point. But it's a losing battle because that's how they will go. And an increasing number of stores don't have a checkout where you can actually speak to an individual. So
that's very true. Chris, I think you've sparked. Did you want to agree with what Kath just said there, Chris, or throw something else in?
No, David. Although I found it, you know, something that I would agree with. No, I'm having to leave now. That's
okay.
That's
no
why I
problem at
put
all.
my hand up.
Well, it's lovely to have you with us today, and we hope.
Thank you very much for coming again, Chris.
And we look forward to seeing you next month.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah.
Look after yourself, sweetheart.
Take care.
Bye, darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
But yes,
Bye,
I think you make a very, very valid point there, Kath, and I think a lot of people would completely agree with the whole lack of customer service, which I think is not just in grocery stores. I think
it's
coming back to what we were saying about, and also even on the line, if you're a big organization and we're paying bills or paying large amounts of money to you, you should man a proper customer service center if you've got an inquiry. So, you know, this whole having like 2 people answering hundreds of phone calls isn't really cutting it, I think, for most people.
Well, could I just throw one more thing in there, Dee?
Yeah.
The other thing is that annoys me is trying to get an appointment with my GP with the new system. You know, the new system with the GP is you have to get up at between 8 o'clock. You have to be up between 7 and 8 o'clock so that you can put in the form, the right pro forma, and they then assess whether you get an appointment. And I think that that's actually made general practice more selective, because if I make an assessment that you don't need it, then you don't get the service. But the mere fact that you've got a bottleneck in the service, that is a pet peeve for me. I mean, I know what I'm like. What if I can't find my glasses? I'm dyslexic. You know what I'm saying? I'm spelling the wrong thing. I'm telling the doctor I've got 16 diagnosis problems and you're still not seeing me because I've spelt it wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think it makes it harder for people to access general practice services, and that is a pet peeve for me.
That's good. Jean Anderson, you've got your hand up.
I just wanted to say, I think most of the things we've been talking about has been poor customer service, like people who don't answer the phone, all this long queuing, people who don't, it's very common in building societies, and banks provide seats for people even when there's a long queue, and you know, lots of people are elderly. Most of the things, and buses that just charge off while you've got frail people standing up and haven't found a seat. It's all poor customer service nowadays, isn't it? And also it's all to do with making money.
Joyce, you've got your hand up. You're on mute, Joyce. One of the most popular statements for every Tuesday. Yeah.
I've been listening to all this, and I just have to say, I think I'm very lucky that where I live, our bus drivers are wonderful. We have little chats with them when we get on. Our GP practice is vastly improved. I can pop in and speak to somebody if I want an appointment, or I can go through an online app, which actually works very well. And yeah.
We want to know where you live, Joyce.
York. Come to York for a holiday.
There you go. Good advertising for tourism Nottinghamshire there. If you
We're all moving there then.
Exactly. You'll now live to regret that because you'll have a stampede.
Probably.
Oh, we're now gonna obviously move to that area. But I think what I would say, because I'm very conscious of the fact that we're cutting into people's lunchtimes, this was a brand new initiative for us. We hope that we might do more of them. So I hope you have enjoyed it. I think as with most things that are new, it takes a bit of time for us to obviously get used to how it's going to run. But I'm very delighted that everybody threw something into the mix, whether, you know, they like it, they didn't like it, they had an opinion, because that's the most important thing, because this is all about your space. And what we want to try and achieve with the online social groups is to give a community through Zoom. And I know some of you love Zoom dearly. But it is a mechanism, if you can't get out and about, that you can at least access or tap into something for you that you probably find of use. Just a quick advert. The next month's online speaker meeting is on Wednesday, the 9th of September. So if you've not got that in your diary, do write it in. And we do have a speaker. You will not be listening to our dulcet tones. We will be topping and tailing it. But we have a lady who's going to do an online chair workout. So get your spandex, get your gym gear, get your yoga mats ready. I have no idea what's involved, but it sounds.
Are you going to be doing the whole thing, Dee, with the spandex and the lycra?
I might have one of my sweatbands on or something to do like the whole fame or something. But I mean, that's what she's doing that in September, and then October, because I spoke to the chef only yesterday. We had, some of you may have been on the call where we had the lady from Scotland who did the cooking the vegetarian dish, which I think was very well received.
I think it was a chili con carne, Dee.
It was, that's right, chili con carne. We have another roving chef from that stable who's going to be doing a sourdough baking demonstration online. Oh, so again, get your baking tins greased up, get all your ingredients. I might actually say to him, not that I'm expecting you will follow him step by step, but if he gives us a heads up about what's involved, those of you might, I don't know if you're feeling brave, prop your tablet up and you can actually follow it as he cooks it through. But yes, we've got those two. And then the November is a speaker who's doing, I think, about the Anglo-Saxon invasion of England. So we've got quite a few speakers coming through. We're already looking ahead to 2027 to obviously coming up with a calendar. What I would say to all of you, because you are regular participants, any ideas you have for speakers, subjects, whatever it may be, do feed in, because we want to obviously make sure that we see an expansion to the number of you who are joining every month. And we also want you to feel as though it's useful, because we've had quite a lot of mixed speakers. We've had people talking about, rights entitlements, downsizing, all sorts. I mean, obviously vegetarian, chili con carne, but we're very open to, we are led by you. It's your space. We're just merely looking after it, caretakering it for you, if you like. But all I would say, just to wrap the call before I stop the recording button, is to say thank you very much to everybody for joining, for being great participants, for throwing your 2 penneth into the mix. Have a lovely day, whatever you're doing with the rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you in September. So enjoy the rest of your day, and if you are in a very hot area, keep cool.